This week's video is part of another challenge. The challenge is hosted by Cory of DesertDIY, and the theme is a Goodwill or slash thrift flip of fall decor or fall themed furniture. So my project is going to be to create a vignette of both furniture and home decor based on a look for fall or autumn. And yeah, so I have a little ladder that I'm sitting on, which is what I'm considering my furniture. I have it looks like a little office piece, possibly a place to keep envelopes and things like that, and little tchotchkes and things. And then I also have a little toolbox, of which, you could put some flowers in it or whatever and decorate it the way you want. And then I also have an empty jar for a candle, a couple of bottles, and 3 little jars. And so, yeah, we're going to create them in a vignette so that they match. And yeah, it'll be based on fall decor. So let's see what happens. Let's do this. So this little tchotchke holder or letter carrier, I don't know what it's made out of. It feels like wood, but it does have a crack in it. So I don't want to soak it with water just for fear that it might be some kind of fiberboard underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little soap and water with a damp cloth, and I'm going to rinse it with clear water. And then I am going to go over it with some 91% alcohol. And then finally, I'm going to use a wax wash remover just to be sure that I don't have any other product on here, because I'm going to paint it, so I want my paint to adhere. So here I'm going to mix up some Bondo to fix this little wooden ladder because it's in such terrible condition and the wood is really grainy and split, and I just want to get it done. I don't want to have to worry about it re-splitting, so that's why I'm using Bondo. And I plan to paint over it, so there won't be any wood finishing here, or wood refinishing. So I did fix some of these obvious chips and cracks with some Bondo, not because I think I'm actually going to make it that much better, but just so that it doesn't catch on the clothing or rags or, whatever you're using to wipe these down. This wood has lost most of its integrity. Over here I have the letter holder. If anybody knows what they call these, put it in the comments. It is made out of MDF, so or particle board with a little bit of a painting. It's not even veneer, it's some sort of painting, some sort of laminate. And so, yep, this will be painted, but I did fix the crack with some Bondo, so it'll be, you're not going to stand on it anyway, but, it's better. And so that's ready for paint. And this little guy over here, He's all nice and clean. And I will just do some scuff sanding on it so that it will, you know, hold the paint for us. So yeah. And then these, last but not least, these little bottles, they're all clean, they're all alcohol, they're all ready for more paint. So I'll do those last. And let's take a look at our colors. Yes, so we have different types of paint. I'm using Paint Couture, Dixie Belle, and Waverly paints to make my colors. This actually is it's a glaze, so I'm going to see what I can do with that. I plan to mix these two colors to make a little paler orange than this. This bottle is almost empty, so I will add a little bit of the apricot in there and see what we get. This is Cashew. I'm not entirely sure I will use that, but it will be there. And the moss. So fall colors. And then I also have some leftover transfers. I can use some of these. And yeah, so let's do some sanding. So I'm going to start, after the shellac, I'm going to put on a coat of the Waverly Cashew. And I watered it down just a little because it seemed really thick. And I do like this color. And so I'm going to see how I feel after the first coat. I'm basically kind of using this, though, as a primer because it's a chalk paint. It will go over very smoothly over the shellac. And it's an inexpensive paint, which is important to me, too, because, you know, this isn't for resale. This is just for shop decor, you know, and so I want to be a little bit cost cautious. I should say investment cautious because there's time involved as well. So we have to be careful that we're not putting more time than we will get in return. So not too worried about this. As I say, to use it as a shop decor, I don't mind, you know. I can use it in its own vignette. I can put some of my antiques that are for resale around it in that vignette. And yeah, so for that reason, yeah, I don't mind doing some labor and some inexpensive costs on a decor and shop wares, because after all, if it makes my resale things look better, that's important. So you just have to weigh out the pros and cons of doing these things. And I suppose, for those of us who do have storefronts, it's kind of like, even though other people aren't really thinking of fall decor, it's still good to get a, kind of a little look ahead to what we're going to do, because before you know it, the end of summer will be here and we will need things for resale that are in fact fall decor. So yep, I'm going to finish painting just a coat of paint over all of these parts to my vignette, and then I will catch up with you later. So I have painted all of the pieces, and I'm going to show you actually. So I painted most of my decor, one or two coats of the Cashew paint. Here's the little letter box, and there's the ladder, and then I mixed up some paint. So this is the Flamingo and Apricot mix. I didn't have a lot of the Flamingo, and it was getting kind of dry, so I mixed these two together, and that's kind of a pretty color. And then this is the Waverly moss. So, and this is a decoupage paper. It's called Timeworks, and it's a rice paper. I love using this stuff. It's really pretty. I am going to decorate the ladder with it first, and then I will probably add pieces here and there to some of the other decor. So let's see what happens. So usually when my method of working is to, I don't always have a perfected plan. I have a kind of plan, and then I see how that feels, and I continue from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is the ladder. So the parts of the ladder that I'm going to do is the seat or a stool, the stool seat, the stool seat, and then I will do the rungs with the rice paper. So I have the Aleene's decoupage gel this time. That's my, now this is the front facing view, so I'm going to go on to the opposite side so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm choosing a top corner. I do have the light finish underneath the paper, so that's good. And I'm going to cut it before I put it down, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of grace here on each side because I will be sanding off the edges. So I'm just going to, I just want to make sure that I have enough. So even though these have a few like creases in it, that will go away once it's adhered down. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm going to put my decoupage gel. Well, the good thing about this product is it can go right on to the top once you have placed your paper. So yeah, this is a small surface. It's nice and dry, freshly painted, but it has been able to dry overnight. So I'm not going to worry about these little button things. And this has quite a bit of open time, so I'm going to just put the decoupage paste over the entire surface. Okay. And yeah, I can pick this up and move it around if I like. And I forgot my little squeeze. Let me actually put some more underneath. And then I can go right over it with my decoupage medium. And where those little buttons are, I'm going to show you the trick that I'm going to use. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a little bit of grace here. Because that lifts a little bit. Now I have to keep my eye on this while it dries, and most likely I will have to go in there and maybe add a little bit more as this dries. But there's a little slot there so that I can keep adding my decoupage medium. And yeah. So I'm going to paint the inside of this little toolbox, the peach color. And yeah, I'm going to use a little bit of misting, and I'll mist my brush, and I'll mist the inside a little bit. And I'm just going to come up to the edge on this. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that neatly. So I'm going to paint these in like a heavy bottom with the peach. There we go. Not too bad. You know, this is decor, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Let me grab my paint. Okay, so I'm sorry for the noise of the fan, but I did a piece of decoupage on the other side of this little toolbox, and I'm going to do one on this side. Let's just make sure that I have the right side, and I think I have this right here. This, it appears just a little bit richer in color, but it is somewhat hard to tell. And yeah, I can wipe that off afterwards, so I'm not really worried about that because, I mean, it's all going to get a coat of clear coat anyway, so some sort of clear coat. Okay, so I'm going to put transfer on this little candle holder, and I have, it's the rest of a transfer that I used recently. It went a really long way. I used it on so many projects over the a couple past year or so. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I am going to bring it up on its edge and try to get to the edge on this as much as I can. And I'm not going to press really hard on the right side because I'm going to start on the left. Because it's a curved surface, they can be a little tricky to put a transfer on, so I'm just going to take my time. So sometimes I wrap around, but I'll try it. Meaning this part to the inside, but I'm going to try it after I get it on the outside. There's too many attachments going on here, so I have to take my time. Yep. Now it's off, but I just want to make sure I don't have a wicked halo here. Okay, so I'm going to try and go over onto this edge now. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put the edges down this side and then meet in the middle. And then last, I'll wrap this over the edge. I don't want to dig into the glass here, so I'm going to try to be careful with my little stick here. This is just a smooth transfer stick that they give you in your package, and it works nice. You can also, if it's a tight spot, you can actually use your fingernail. I'm going to cut the paper, just the paper, not the transfer here. That way I can manipulate it. Again, I don't want to dig, but here we go. I'm going to be super careful right there. Good time. Yep. There we go. Take this bit of transfer backing and just rub over it to try to press down so you don't see that halo as much. Yep. And it goes right over onto the inside. Kind of cute. Yeah, not too bad. Very cute. So just one side. One side is plain. One side has the flowers. It's very cute. So yeah, let's. I'm going to put some more transfers on this decor, and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Hi, thank you for watching this week's video. This week we are submitting as part of a challenge. The challenge is hosted by Cory at DesertDIY, and the theme is a $20 or less Goodwill or Thrift Flip of decor and or furniture. So what I did was I put together a little vignette of furniture. I could sit on this, but I don't want to sit on it just yet because it's dry and everything, but I want to give it a few days before I sit on it. So anyway, I did this old, like really kind of in poor condition, this little stool slash ladder. Sometimes when I go to pick something up, furniture and things like that, people might have something and just say, you know, do you want these things? So usually I'll just say yes, because, you know, if anything, I can use it for the wood or for parts or, you know, different kinds of pieces off of it. And sometimes I can actually refinish it. And that's where I got these things. I don't even really know if it was $20. The ladder I've had for a couple of years. It was at another place where I went to pick something up, and the guy said, "Why don't you take this with you?" And I said, "Okay." It was in really poor condition. This, you know, I might have paid $5 for this, and the same with this little tool. It's a handmade piece, and so I painted them in a theme. I used a rice paper to coordinate it and some color. And you know, I could have gotten a little bit crazier with the theme, but I thought that to me, fall colors, they're beautiful, but they're also kind of muted. And so when I do a fall theme, it's usually without too much detail. So yeah, I try to keep it muted and let the colors kind of speak for themselves. And you know, I like it. I mixed up a color to do the bottles and the inside of the little tool chest. I could have gotten a little more fancy with this, but actually I like it, and I like the antique look of it. I think it suits the actual pieces. So I mean, you might even say it's cottage or farmhouse, which I don't do a lot of, but I do like doing it. Once in a while, I just feel like doing that. Stay tuned for the playlist, which I linked at the end of the video. And I just want to say another thank you to Cory for hosting this challenge. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see some fun things at the end. So stay tuned for that and for some pictures at the end. Thank you. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate everybody that has to subscribe. I don't have a huge following, but I think it's like almost 1,000 people, which is good for me. And yeah, so just waiting for that one more subscriber to make it 1,000 or better. Yes, and if you like this video, would you click the thumbs up? And yeah, I hope to see you next week. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I wish you all good and beautiful things.